Wow, man, that voice right there. What an amazing Hall of Fame speech. Rightfully so. Because it's been an amazing life that this man has curated for himself. I've been watching him since the 80s had to be.
Right.
And growing up in Oakland, California, man, it was something about his spirit that really appealed to me. Keep the applause going, please. It's a pleasure and an honor to have the two-time NBA champion here. Keep the applause going right now. The NBA Finals MVP, 12 times NBA All-Star. Keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen. The 12-time NBA All-Star was named to the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams. Keep the applause going. But what appealed to me most is that even though I saw him on these big stages, I related to him. I think watching him play the game of basketball was like a metaphor for life. He wasn't the biggest man on the court ever. He probably wasn't the highest paid player on the court ever. He was probably someone that a lot of people doubted, didn't think that he'll be able to accomplish the things he's done ever and go as far as he's gone ever. When you mention his name now, you got to mention his name amongst the elite greats of all time when it comes to basketball altogether, but he represented the hood to us. When we used to get out on that basketball court playing on that concrete, it was certain names that we would yell out. Who are you? Isaiah! Boom!
Did you make the shot, though?
Absolutely, every time. Zeke! Boom!
I mean, you shot it, but did you make it?
Well, it didn't matter, but I had to. He didn't make every shot. But I want to welcome him. His son has graced our airways plenty of times.
Yep.
But we always ask about his dad. But I want to welcome you to this show for all that you do and all that you represent, especially what you represent for the players, what you represent for the game of basketball, but outside of the court, what you represent. I don't know if we ever know how many people we inspire when we're in the public eye, when we're so-called celebrities. But you gave a lot of people hope, and you gave a lot of people fight. And by your success, you made a lot of people believe that they can achieve success. Please welcome Isiah Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Isiah Lord Thomas. The third.
Yes.
The third.
Thank you.
You the youngest out of how many kids?
9.
Wow.
6 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm the 7th son of the 7th son.
You're the 7th son.
Yes.
Is that how you got tough? Like fighting for food?
Fighting for food every day.
Uh-huh.
And then growing up on the west side of Chicago.
Yeah.
My mom always, we didn't have a lot of clothes. We didn't have a lot of food. So it was always the hand-me-downs, right? So, and my brother's clothes were too big for me.
Uh-huh.
So I had to wear my sister's clothes, right? So I had to button up, the blouse on the left-hand side, wear her shoes. And I was like, Mom, I can't go to school like this. She was like, no, you going to school just like that. So every day I went to school, I had to fight.
Wow.
Yeah, so
You was wearing your sister's blouses to school?
My 8th grade picture, I got on my sister's, I got on her blazer, and I got on her hooded, flowered, blouse in the back, and, those were all the clothes that I had, and that was because my sister was my size, so I fit her clothes, and all my brother's clothes and shoes, they were too big. So couldn't wear them.
You was wearing your sister's clothes.
And her gym shoes.
And her Damn, really?
Yeah.
Could she ball?
No, she was a cheerleader.
Okay.
And, so all my brothers were balling. I mean, they could really play. My oldest brother, Lord Henry, he was really good. And Leon, shout out to Leon, did such an excellent job in the Mary Thomas story, in my mother's story, playing my older brother. And to this day, when I see Leon, I still look at him as like, a brother, and I still feel that spirit that my older brother, Lord Henry, had. And true story about my older brother, Lord Henry. He got turned out in high school, You know, he was a heroin addict.
Okay.
And,
Oh shit, you got turned out in high school.
Yeah, and you know, he was on heroin for about 30, 35 years, and you know, only 1% of heroin addicts kick. And he finally kicked at the end, went back to college, graduated from college, and I never forget. He was graduating, and we sent a bus on the west side of Chicago. Now the bus and all our friends, right, that we grew up with, you know, we had the bus, meet on Jackson and Holman, Fifth Avenue in Jackson, at 3 a.m. in the morning, right? And at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's a little rough over there, right?
Chicago.
So the bus driver, I never forget, he was calling me up. He's like, Mr. Thomas, are you sure I'm in the right location? I'm like, yeah, you in the right spot. And I said, just be nice to the people who are coming on. So all his neighborhood, guys that he had grew up with, all the people in the neighborhood got on the bus. I had them come down to Detroit. They drive about 4-5 hours down to Detroit. Get there, and as he's walking across the stage, he was graduating from Phoenix College, Ford Field in Detroit. As he's walking across the stage, everybody, Lord Henry, Lord Henry.
Wow.
Man, that dude broke down, started crying right on the stage.
Wow.
That was a big moment in our family.
Man.
And sorry to go off on that story.
No.
But,
That round of applause, man.
That's, but that's how we grew up.
Man.
Many champions in your family.
But he passed away, so shout out to Lord Henry upstairs.
Lord
We're
Henry.
still thinking about you.
Lord Henry. Nah, man, that's to me, like, even hearing his story is what made you. Certain people, you, Magic, it was certain people that were so relatable to us. You made us believe we could do anything we set our minds to, So even hearing the adversity that your family faced, to me is a part of all of our stories, right?
Absolutely.
To some extent, right?
Yeah.
At that time, when did you discover basketball? Like at that time, were people telling you, were they doubting you then?
Growing up on the west side of Chicago, like I was born in 61. So here's my first 10 years of life. 63, Kennedy is assassinated. 65, Malcolm X is assassinated. 66, 67, Kennedy assassinated. King assassinated. And you're from Oakland. Black Panther Party was in my community. I was one of the kids that got the free breakfast. My mom worked with Fred Hampton. 69, Fred Hampton's murdered. 3 riots in my neighborhood. They had a shoot to kill order in my neighborhood, Chicago West Side. Black Panthers, Vice Lords, J. Edgar Hoover. First time a weapon was pulled on me, the National Guard pulled up off the Eisenhower Expressway. I was living on Congress and Holman, 3340 West Congress, and pulled up the tank. Back then we called it the Army tank. The Army tank pulled up, pointed the barrel right at our house, and you couldn't be outside. We had a curfew at 6 o'clock, so everybody had to be off the streets by 6 o'clock. So when you talk about when's the first time I got playing basketball. Now, my first 10 years of life, I wasn't even thinking about basketball like that, in terms of, playing in the NBA and all that. The NBA wasn't even on television at that time. And I know that's hard to imagine, right?
Right.
But, how about this? That famous game they talk about that Magic Johnson played in, where he was the MVP, 42 points and all that. That game was tape delayed.
That was tape delayed?
That game was tape delayed.
That sounds bonkers in 2023.
Right? And so, I didn't grow up with this NBA basketball dream. I grew up, wanting to be, an activist, fighting in civil rights. My mom, my dad, we went to all the, the civil rights, marches. And, activism is part of,
that's a part of who you are.
Yeah, that's the family business. And, during that time, again, on the west side of Chicago, you had, Noble Drew Ali, you had, Nation of Islam, you had the Blackstone Rangers, El Rukins, Black Panther Party. So that's kind of like, my DNA in terms of how I grew up and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for, nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro.
Yeah. Wow.
Remember those times?
Remember those times, yeah. Don't call me colored or Negro.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had Negro on my birth certificate. And
I got Negro on my birth certificate.
Well, back then they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you break down the knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in the United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights, and we were in this country, we were said to be not human. So when they took us out of our nationality, they took you out of your humanness and your birthright, right? And the first march that happened in Memphis with the garbage workers, right, in Memphis, right? The sign that they had that they said, "I am a man," right? You didn't want to be dehumanized, and you didn't want to be taken out of your humanness, and you didn't want to be taken out of the human race. There really was only one race, and it was called the human race. The
human race, yeah.
Right? And then they put us into all these different racial categories. And in these racial categories, you lose your humanness in terms of being recognized as a man. So Negro came in to signify that you were second-class citizen in the United States, not first class. And what first class means is that classified as white, you don't have to fight for voting rights, civil rights, or equal rights. We classified as black in America, you're fighting for civil rights, equal rights, voting rights. So there's a second tier that we've always been fighting for to try to be recognized as equal and as human in this space. So that was the west side of Chicago.
That's how Isiah Thomas grew up. I love this, man.
Wow.
Shit.
Deep.
Come on, man. I love this. You brought up Magic. Magic Johnson. Can you talk to us about your friendship with him? I know you guys gone through your ups and downs.
I mean, how lucky was I to come into the NBA? And I just talked to you about his
42-point game.
Yeah. That was his rookie year. He's MVP. Now I come in right behind him. And this is the guy who says, "Hey man, you with me." Right? And I'm like, damn, I just saw this dude on TV, like, he got the MVP trophy, and now I get him not only as a friend, but also as a mentor to walk through the NBA. Mark Aguirre and I, coming from Chicago, I'm going to Detroit, he's from Lansing, and now I'm getting all the good lessons from him and George Gervin, Dr. J, about winning. Now, you got to remember, I'm 19, right? I'm poured and poor. I don't know nothing, and this dude riding up in a Mercedes Benz.
Just like the series?
Yeah, talking about, hey, come on in, man. We going to go hoop. But the lessons I learned about winning in the NBA, there's a lot of people that, I've won at every level. High school, college, NBA, and takes a lot to win, and you just don't. Everybody talks about winning, but there's a pathway, there's a work ethic, and then there's a knowledge base that you have to acquire. And what I was able to acquire at that time from Magic and the Los Angeles Lakers, and then being friends at that time with Kevin McHale and the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
So I'm getting knowledge from Cedric Maxwell,
Legends.
Dennis Johnson, Magic Johnson, and I'm at, if you go back and you look, I'm at every Lakers Celtics series. That was the Harvard and the Yales in terms of knowledge base when you talk about, academia and you compare it to basketball. That's where you went to study. So studying those two teams and then having Magic as a friend, it definitely helped me from a knowledge standpoint, and I was extremely lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Now, then once you acquire the knowledge, once the student challenges the master, the master ain't too happy about that. And then when the student beats the master,
yeah.
The master normally say lesson learned. But in sport, it's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
You gotta love it, right? You gotta love it.
So,
you talk about the Celtics, and when you think of the Celtics, a lot of people think of Larry Bird, but I recall you saying your parents watched the Celtics for a different reason, right?
Absolutely. Again, you got to remember, in my household, all that was talked about was education and understanding the Constitution and the rules of this United States of America that we were living in junior, how you have to act and be. And this is how you navigate. I remember 1974, I'm on my way to school. And this is when they first started busing and integrating the buses, right? And for those who don't know, that means busing was they take you out of your neighborhood to the white schools because the white schools had all of the
resources.
The resources.
Yeah.
So 1974, I'm getting ready to walk out the door. My mom grabbed me by the collar. She said, "Junior, sit down." I said, "Mom, I'm going to be late for school." She goes, "No, you got to watch this." And I never forget, and it's still, singed in my brain. There was a white woman that came on, and we was watching the CBS News. And they were in Boston, and she was saying on the news, and you may be able to even go back and find the clip on YouTube. She was saying, "I would never let my kids go to school with these N's," and she used the N word. And I was like, "Mom, I got to go to school." And I'll never forget, she said, "This is why we root for Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics." So in our household, right, Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics and the St. Louis Cardinals with Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
That's who, and we have books on Paul Robeson, right? And for those who don't know about Paul Robeson, over at Rutgers University, go do some research there and find out who that man was, who they don't talk about enough.
Bill Russell, we hear a lot of these conversations, we got this banter, it's all over the sports networks, man. Who's the greatest and all these, the greatest teams, the greatest player. Unless you're a professional, a lot of folks just don't know Bill Russell's impact.
They don't know it, don't understand it, and really don't understand how hard it is to win. I'm talking about championships. And what Bill Russell did in the 60s.
Yeah.
Listen to me when I say this, because some of you are not old enough to understand how difficult life was for a classified black man in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And Bill Russell, as a teenager, can you imagine what his life was like as a teenager in the 50s? Now, he gets to the 60s and he wins championships. but the way he probably was treated as a teenager, as a tall black man in America, right? And still to, have the dignity that he had. So, as I said, when I started, I rattled off all those murders that happened in the 60s. Bill Russell and Red Auerbach and the Boston Celtics in 1966 or 67, I'm not sure what date it was, but they said Bill Russell is the player coach for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And they won the championship.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You don't hear me.
Come on, man. Come on.
He was the player coach and won the championship while being treated and mistreated outside of the arena in Boston. I mean, and you got to give the Boston Celtics organization their props, because Red Auerbach, right? God rest his soul, stood up during that period of time as a classified white male Caucasian and said, this brother here, I'm getting ready to show y'all, America, Boston, what we're all about as a Celtics organization. Yeah. Mad respect for the Celtics organization.
Come on, man. Okay. That's the only.
Wow.
I was trying to find a way to respect them. You just gave me one. So let me ask you your thoughts on this too, and I'm sure, and we're gonna get to why you're here. It's an exciting thing you're doing with Mitchell Ness. It's a company that I've been supporting since since the early millennium. I used to bring MTV out to Mitchell Ness, and we would do coverage of them. I think it was Dennis Rodman who recently said that if Larry Bird played today, he'll have to play over in the European League, right? And because of the way the game is in 2023, I remember I think you joked about it, but I thought it was truth. You said if Larry Bird was a black, he'd just be another black player back in the day or something.
Here's what I'm not going to do today, because you do have to learn from your experiences.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
I'm not going to joke about it.
Okay.
I ain't going to say nothing about it. Only thing I'm going to say is, hey, that's what Rodman said.
Okay. There you go. That's it.
Can't be bad at that.
Hey, I speak for myself.
Okay.
Right? I don't speak for nobody else. As the captain of the Detroit Pistons during that time, my job was to look out and take care. Now, I speak for myself. I'm not acting as the captain of the Detroit Pistons. My personal opinion on Larry Bird, if Larry Bird was playing today, he would still be the MVP of the league, and his team would still be winning championships. Now, why do I say that? Because we just watched the Joker, who is very similar to Larry Bird, take his Denver Nuggets team and win the championship. So if I look at these two players and if I'm saying they're similar, then Bird would probably win 2 or 3 championships in this era also.
In this era right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, and you played him, so you know, right?
Oh, out of all the players we played against, when Larry Bird caught the basketball, we were most afraid of him. And it's hard for young people to understand, because those of us who was around in the 80s, who really got to see him and the Boston Celtics play, the dude, he just didn't miss. And when he missed, you were shocked that he missed.
Yeah.
As I said before, like my mother-in-law named his jump shot Silent Death, because when he shot it, it just looked like it just stayed in the air and just rolled and rolled. No, and if you go back and you look at the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Everybody shot like this.
That's true. Right?
Everybody was imitating him. Right? Come on, man. Talk to me now. Talk to me now. Everybody was imitating his shot just like that, right?
True.
You know,
that's true.
No, he was the dude.
He was the dude.
33 and green. He was the dude.
Wow, Larry Bird. When you look at Stephen Curry's shot,
oh, pretty.
Right? Yo, Isaiah, why won't they give Stephen Curry his props, though, man? What is that about? He got rings. You know, I felt like the Golden State Warriors wasn't a team of elite players when they assembled them, you know, and they grew, they developed, they found their rhythm. But why won't people give him his props?
People, for whatever reason in sport, people want to hate on the small guy.
Yeah.
Right. And in sport, I mean, real talk. Normally, the bigger players dominate. Mm-hmm. You know, when you blessed with the genetic gift of size, weight, right, where you 6'8", 6'9", and you know can jump and do, you know, that's a genetic gift that we small guys don't have. So, Steph Curry, myself, you know. You kind of look at Steph and you go, well, I can do what he does. But that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
To me, that's the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
When small guys like us can do it against the genetic freaks. Mm-hmm. And then smaller players and people, well, I would say people of normal size can say, well, I don't have to have a 52-inch vertical. I don't have to be 6'9". If I work on my handle and I can shoot it, I got a chance to play. And that's the beauty of the game. The fundamentals, if you master the fundamentals, mm-hmm. it neutralizes and equalizes size, weight, height. And Steph doesn't get enough credit, I would say, by the people outside of the sport. Mm-hmm. But the people inside of the sport, Steph Curry walk in the room, we all bowing.
Y'all,
we taking
y'all got
knee,
it.
like, hey,
yeah.
you know this.
Yeah.
And there's only certain people you do. I don't do that for everybody.
Who you do that for?
Okay, so we talked about Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, yeah.
You know, Magic,
okay.
Bird,
mm-hmm.
Dr. J. You know, if Jordan walked in,
yeah.
I would give him his props, his
mm-hmm.
respect. A lot of the older players that you may not know, like Alex English, you know, Spencer Haywood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when them guys walk into the room, it's like, hey, you know, step back.
Yeah.
And the biggest one, right, who gets the utmost respect from me and everybody else, is when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar walk in that door. Hey man, we taking a knee.
You taking a knee to
we ain't bowing. We taking a knee. We kissing the ring.
Give
man.
it up for Kareem.
Hey, Kareem is the dude.
Yo, Heather has a Kareem story, but
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was mean when
he
he
didn't
came
give
up
you that
here.
autograph.
The picture. I didn't ask for the autograph. See, I am not by myself, so I call him Kameen. I call him Kameen Abdul-Jabbar. He mean as hell. A picture. DB was with me in the hallway, like, no. He said no twice. Like, bruh, why you so mean?
In a minute.
Yo,
Eddie
Yeah.
it's like, you know, when you come outside, people are gonna stop you. Even if you didn't play basketball, you're a giant, like you said. He was like, no. Twice.
Yeah.
I was like, man, F Kameen. I had a tantrum. Sorry. And then I found out his family lived downstairs from my grandmother.
And just as nice.
The family was really nice. I don't know where he came from. But I was going to ask you while you were naming these names. I think someone who's been able to like overcome a lot too, who's respected in and outside the sport, and I guess he would be considered a smaller size, is Allen Iverson.
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
He has the utmost respect, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about AI and his game, or maybe his impact on the game, where he gets it, where to Sway's point, maybe a Stephen Curry does not the same way? Because my gosh, he's so beloved, Allen Iverson, and rightfully so.
No, I'm gonna put Steph in there.
Right?
Because,
No, for sure.
Steph is loved. Now AI, you know, then there are people who who just had that thing, right? And I used to tell people this all the time. 2 6'9" dudes walk in the room. One Magic Johnson and the other one is
Pippen. So,
no, Pippen he get love. Okay. But Magic Johnson walk into a room with I'm just gonna make up a name, Frank Smith.
Okay.
And they both 6'9", both play in the NBA, so forth and so on. But one of them just got that thing, man.
That it factor.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's AI. AI walk into a room and it's like, hey, yeah, I see all the other little guys, but let me get to that one. He just got whatever it is, and you don't know what it is, right? But he's got it.
He's got it.
And when he played, you just wanted to watch him. Some guys, they put on the uniform and they can be on the team, you know.
Yeah.
And then some guys put on the uniform and then you go, wait a minute, who is that? And your eyes just gravitate to that person. Whether AI was playing football or basketball, you know, he was that dude.
He was that dude. Allen Iverson, man. We got Isiah Thomas here with us. Man, you're gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to get up out that seat because we ain't gonna let you leave.
I'm here for a minute.
Okay.
You was late.
Oh, okay. All right.
Y'all was late, so I
come on.
Yeah.
I was there. You saw me.
Yeah, right. I was sitting out there,
You
right?
was sitting out
I was
there.
sitting out there waiting patiently.
Chilling.
You know?
And my mind said that. I was like, wait, that's Isiah Thomas just sitting out here with all these people just chilling in the corner. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, and I
Low key.
I just, just waiting. So, now that I'm here.
Yeah. I love it, man. Isiah Thomas is here, man. When you talk about Bill Russell and you talk about your upbringing, which I can relate to growing up in Oakland, we used to go to the people thought the soup kitchens were really a soup kitchen, but it'd be people's houses.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you was passing out food, my mother, being from Oakland, my aunties and uncles came up in that movement. And so I recall that. So when I came up into the game with hip-hop, in the 80s, and then got into the music business, I came in with that same frame of mind. So the first show my partner King Tech and I made on the radio was called The Wake Up Show. But it was cold. People thought it was late night, so they thought, man, oh, wake up, the show is on.
Yeah.
But it meant wake up your consciousness.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Harold Melvin.
Come on, we play that song every morning.
No more sleeping in bed.
Wake up, everybody.
We about to play it this afternoon.
We play that every morning.
Yes.
Right? It's just to kind of trigger that frequency for folks. And so when you get to these platforms, you got a decision to make.
Yep.
How you want to utilize them.
Yeah.
What you want to do with them.
Yep.
Right? We choose to offer information and opportunity and
inspire,
encouragement.
You with basketball also utilize that platform for awareness, for activism, the same thing. Similar ways, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and so on and so forth. When I look at LeBron James and I look at the Carmelo Anthonys and the Chris Pauls and all of these guys have done the same thing. What do you think when you see them wearing I Can't Breathe shirts or really standing up for their rights as players and us as people?
So excited and love that this generation of player brought voice back to the voiceless. Because as athletes, I'll classified as black in America, right? There was only 3 outlets where you can really get your voice heard. Sports, entertainment, and the arts. Those are the doors that they kind of pushed us to. So whenever you became a champion, it was imperative that when you got the mic, your responsibility and your job was to speak for the voiceless in the community, because the voiceless in the community, they didn't get a chance to be on the national stage. Nobody knew what was happening in the neighborhood. So when you won, right, and they handed you the mic, you had to speak for the voiceless. Now, I'm gonna remind y'all, go back and look at the Miami Heat title that they won, Ray Allen hit the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And when they gave the mic to Shane Battier, go back and listen to what he said. Because that's how we were taught, right? And on this day back in Detroit, this is a reunion where Nelson Mandela, when he was released from prison, first city and state that he came to was Detroit, Michigan.
I didn't know that.
Because what we were standing for in Detroit, the bad boys, you know, speaking out on race, class, and gender. So Nelson Mandela, he gets released from prison. He comes to Detroit, puts on a bad boy, a Pistons hat, Pistons jacket. That was the first time. Look it up, right?
Yeah, you're looking
see
it up right now. Yeah,
and
look that up, Kalani. All right.
And so we were always. That's what That's why when you talk about the Pistons, that's what made us so controversial because, again, we were speaking on race, class, and gender issues
back then.
Right? Back then,
yeah,
right. It was a big tent, right. So after we go off the stage, then there was a long silence where the athletes really didn't speak for the community. They didn't speak about what was going on, right? And then LeBron James came in. And what makes LeBron James so controversial, and some people don't like him, because when LeBron James got the mic, and Carmelo Anthony and them got the mic, when this generation came back in, they said, hey, I'm not about just getting the endorsement.
Yeah.
I got to tell you what's going on in Baltimore. I got to tell you what's going on in Akron. I got to tell you what's going on in my community.
Yeah.
Oh, I got this thing called Twitter now.
Yeah.
I can tweet. I got followers. I got voice. Now the athlete is back on the scene, speaking for the voiceless. And I remind everybody who's listening to this, when Muhammad Ali could talk, America didn't like him.
Yeah.
When he couldn't talk, that's when you fell in love with him.
Wow.
Those are the facts.
Wow. Isiah Thomas is here, man.
Wow.
I want to allow these listeners to talk to you too. 888-742-3345. You've done so much in your career. I want to be able to tap into some of the things. You took on different roles as you continue in the sport of basketball. You was with the Toronto Raptors, right?
I was the co-founder of the Toronto Raptors and the co-founder of the Las Vegas Aces, the WNBA team in Vegas.
Okay.
And y'all knew I was going to say it. Y'all knew I was going to let it be known.
Why people don't give you credit for that, or?
No, actually, I was speaking to Jim Murrin, who, and he and I, along with Adam Silver and Mark Tatum, we took the team from San Antonio and moved it to Las Vegas. And Jim Murrin was the chairman, CEO of MGM at that time. And he was a friend of mine. I convinced him that, that not only would the WNBA work in Las Vegas, but MGM being a partner with the WNBA would be good. So moved the team there. And then if you remember, I was running the New York Liberty at that time.
Yep.
And we had a coach by the name of Bill Lambier. Do you remember
Bill Lambier? Come on, yeah.
Left the New York Liberty, and where did he go?
To
the Las Vegas Aces to start the Aces.
That was your doing?
Yeah, that was my doing. So I took half my staff from the Liberty, moved it out to Las Vegas to help Jim Murrin and the Aces in the WNBA get started. So Jim Murrin and I are co-founders of the Las Vegas Aces.
I did not know that. Good round of applause for that. Wake up. We're waking them up.
Wake up.
All right. How do you think you do as a coach? What would you rate yourself as a coach?
Unfinished business.
Okay.
I thought in Indiana I did an excellent job there. Had a very young team. Got it to the point where I thought we were ready to win the championship. And Bird got hired as the president that same summer. And fired me that summer and brought in Rick Carlisle.
And you just said that like it was nothing. You swept it under. He fired you.
No, that's the business.
That's the business. Nothing personal.
No, when you could have been on his part, I don't know.
Okay.
But he said it wasn't nothing personal. It was smooth the way he said it. He said, he called me Cheesy. He's like, Cheesy, I like you. I just like Rick better. This is my friend, right?
Yeah.
So you've done a good job here. You developed the players. We grabbed Artest out of Chicago. Remember Artest wasn't doing well in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Brought him to Indiana. Got Jermaine O'Neal. Got Brad Miller. I think as a coach right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there may be only 3 white Caucasian Americans that have made the NBA All-Star team. And I think I've had 2 of the 3. There was Brad Miller, David Lee, Kevin Love. I don't know if there's another one that's American that's made it. So I did a good job in Indiana.
What about New York?
When I got here to New York,
I
should have stayed in the executive seat. I was forced to coach here, in New York. And when I got on the bench that first year, I thought I did a good job. I did a really good job that first year with the talent that I had. My second year, emotionally, I was a wreck.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been on the bench my second year as a coach. My mom was dying. It was so much, chaos in here. I had been, I just was not in a good emotional place to do a good job my second year as a coach. And so when I say unfinished, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at in terms of my coaching career.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of Knicks fans. Well, that second year, did the Knicks fans ever give you backlash?
Well, yeah, I got a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
But when you're losing, you should get backlash.
You should. Okay.
I mean that's how it goes.
Yeah.
I've gotten way more cheers.
Absolutely.
Than I have, backlash. But when you lose and I would say this, and this is what I admired about Knicks fans. When you losing in other cities, they don't show up.
Yeah.
They just stop coming to the games. Here in New York, I admire and love that no matter how bad the team is,
they come.
They show up. I mean that
And Garden and Rock.
Waiting for punishment.
No, that is mad respect.
Yeah.
And and for me, my second year, I didn't, like I say, emotionally I wasn't as good as I was my first year.
Yeah.
And but you want to give as an entertainer, as a performer, you want to give that audience your best. They come in there and I want to give them the show. I want to, but I wasn't at my best. And the thing that I regret is that New York never really got to see me at my best.
Yeah.
And that's a miss, I think, on all our parts.
Okay. Man, Isiah Thomas is here. I'm going to open up these phone lines, 888-742-3345. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, man. We're going to take some calls and let Tracy and DB jump in. Sway in the Morning, Shade 4-5. Legend, man, two-time NBA champion. He's our MVP. He's the all-time MVP of the black community. I want to say Isiah Thomas is here. And he's doing a new collaboration with Mitchell and Ness. The original Bad Boy collection is available now. You could go to mitchellandness.com. He has a hoodie on right now, the original Bad Boys hoodie on. Citizens, listen, go to mitchellandness.com. Do it now. These collaborative efforts, sometimes they sell out quick. So we've got a lot of people on the lines. While we're talking, go to mitchellandness.com and look up the original Bad Boy collection. How did this happen? Do you own the trademark, Bad Boy?
on this trademark.
Okay.
So my son Joshua, was like, Dad, we got to do something, apparel wise. He's into fashion and everything else, and he had the idea, along with a good friend of mine by the name of Kevin Wolf, who's the president of Mitchell and Ness, about doing a bad boy collection, original, OG bad boy collection. And he's like, I hear a lot of people call you OG. What does that mean? So forth and so on. So we started talking about it. And then I started talking to, a couple of the players. We got a group chat. I got to show you my bad boy group chat.
I got to see your group. Who's on it? Can you tell us who's on it?
Lambeer, Mahorn, Sally, Buddha, Mark Aguirre. So we we hit each other and we talk, daily. And so I asked them, how would they feel about if we did a collection together? So this is the first rollout of myself. And Joshua, he designed the shirts, he designed the hoodies and everything else.
Okay.
Came up with the logo.
Okay.
So, that's
Joshua.
It's the family business. Yeah.
We don't know him as Joshua, but
Congratulations.
So it's the family business. So, and now we're looking forward to doing more things. And, very excited. Mitchell and Ness, they are the throwback OG collection. When people think about, classic OG stuff, they go to Mitchell and Ness. So it was only right that we did it with them. And then from a relationship and friendship wise, I've been knowing, the CEO of Mitchell and Ness, Kevin Wolf.
Yeah.
Been knowing him since our Toronto days when he was the president of Nike. And I was the co-founder of the Raptors. We collaborated there. So we back doing business again.
I love it, man. The merch looks great.
Yeah, it's hard.
Isaiah didn't bring us any, but he did come. So that's what's important. All right, Tracy, go ahead.
Isaiah, I've been enjoying this conversation thoroughly. Like you, when it comes to our pro athletes, I'm really proud of how so many of them speak up and out against a lot of the social injustices. And that's an advantage of being in the spotlight, being able to speak power to your passions and to your beliefs. It also makes me think of the disadvantages of being a star professional athlete and how perhaps all of your vices are made available to you. You have a whole buffet for your ego potentially, and many people perhaps may see you as a target to either take advantage of in whichever way, whether it's through money, whether it's through duplication, perhaps as women. I'm interested in knowing, how were you able to navigate those vices that came with your career heights? And also, what are some of the advice that you give as a coach to, the players who are dealing with multitudes of women, maybe old friends who do not have their best intentions in mind, that sort of thing?
So, I met my wife in college, and I was so lucky, and I've been so fortunate to have her in my life. We've been together, 40 years. I mean, my whole adult life, I've basically been with her. And the advice that I give is that, hey, relationships are hard, and they're going to be ups and downs, and it's never going to be a smooth ride. And I can remember asking my mom this when I was young, growing up. I used to always say, Mom, when are we ever gonna get to easy street, right? Because there's always, she said, baby, ain't no such thing as easy street. And she said, only thing you can do is keep putting one foot in front of the other. And, with the players in the NBA today, and the way social media is and everything else, I feel for a lot of them, because while there were people who took advantage of myself and took advantage of us as a family and everything else, because when you have money, people gonna take advantage of you. They think that's part of the game, and I guess it is, right? But in today's world with athletes, there's so much coming at them, so many bad things coming at them, right? So many bad things and people to navigate. It's almost overwhelming, and it is overwhelming for a lot of them, and it's so easy to get labeled, mistreated, manipulated, taken advantage of. And it seems like we're in a era, in a place now in the world where people say, well, yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to take advantage of you. I'm supposed to take your money. I'm supposed to mistreat you. You should know better.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How about, no, you shouldn't do this to me.
Yeah, you should do better. Yeah, right.
How about no, you really shouldn't do this to me. Not that I should know better, right? And now I have to prepare to look at everyone. You're asking all the high-profile people now to look at everyone with an eye of suspicion, and that ain't a good place. I'm, as you see, I'm open. I trust. Hey, how you doing? I speak to anybody. I wait my turn. Right now, we're in a dangerous place in society.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isiah Thomas is here. We got a lot of people lined up on the lines. When I come to you, it has to be say your name, a quick question, and you'll give a quick answer. DB, you want to chime in?
Yeah, really quick. Back in 1994, the movie Hoop Dreams came out, and Arthur Agee and William Gates, they were two guys from Chicago. Arthur was a huge fan of yours. He had posters in his room. He wanted to play like you. You went to St. Joseph, where he ended up transferring to get a better chance at being an athlete. And it was the first realistic look for me at the process of working hard against the odds and doing everything right that you feel will give you a better shot at making it to the league. But it also showed you how you can do all those things and still not make it. Was it hard for you as a player when you realized that you had the it factor, like you were talking about earlier, and your teammates and friends realizing that I'm probably not going to join you on this journey? I need to figure out life in another way because I'm not going to the NBA.
Again, I was so fortunate to have friends who said, I can't go with you. Good luck, man. And I'm a root for you. I'm a cheer for you, and I'm gonna be there whenever you come home. But I'm not trying to take this journey with you. I'm just gonna cheer for you and root for you and genuinely be happy for you. I was fortunate to have those kind of friends, and then I was just lucky to make it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at people my size going to the NBA, I mean, what we know as small people, I don't know if you play, I'm just sizing you up right now, but small people, man, on any given day, we out on the court, somebody can get us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just depends on, because again, we don't have that genetic gift where we bigger than somebody.
Yeah.
We can push them around, or we can just jump higher than them.
So
Small dudes, it's like, hey, on any given day, man, if his J is working, you got me today.
You know? You could do it. Yeah, man. You just made me think of something. We're having all this conversation about basketball in the Bay Area, where I'm from, and now we just received Chris Paul as a gift to the Golden State Warriors. Round of applause for that. I'm a Warriors fanatic. I'm ready to fight if you say the wrong things here. Chris Paul alluded that you had something to do with that, him going to the Warriors. Is that true?
I'm gonna speak to Chris when I see him.
Okay.
That's all I'm, because what he dropped, nationally. That was just I speak to him when I see him.
Okay. All right. I'm a CP3 fan. If you did or didn't, I'm glad he's going to the Warriors. Yeah. All right. We gonna take some phone calls right now. We got Russ from Queens on the line. Russ, what up, man? Rise and shine.
What up, Russ?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, good to see you guys, family. Hey, first off, I wanted to just say, Isiah Thomas, man, you were such an inspiration for me in my life. I wore the number 11 when I first laid eyes on you when you won your national championship in 1981 against University of North Carolina. I wore number 11, took that number, became a Hall of Fame member at Manhattan College. So I just want to take this time to thank you for being that inspiration, the inspiration I needed to do that. I really appreciate it talking to you, Isiah Thomas. Isaiah Lord Thomas, pardon me.
The third.
Thank you, brother, and congratulations on making it to the Hall of Fame. That's not an easy thing to do, and I'm glad that basketball was good to you, and I hope it's still being good to you.
It has. It definitely has, being that inspiration and with everything. And Isaiah, I had a quick question for you, really quick, if I could, guys, family. So Isaiah, how were you able to transition from being that basketball icon, that NBA point guard, to being, to transition into your endeavors that you do now?
I was fortunate enough to have good mentors and be around people who understood business but also understood life, and was willing to teach me some lessons. I study a lot. I read a lot. I graduated from Indiana University, went back to school. Got my master's. So applying the academic side with the life experience side, and then having, people who were willing to help you and want to help you, because you never have success by yourself. So I'm blessed, fortunate, and lucky, and sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and Russ, he got that master's degree in the Bay Area, just for the record, in case y'all didn't know.
Still talking about
Shout out to the Berkeley Bears.
There you go, man. Hey, we got Jamal on the line from L.A. Go ahead,
up,
Jamal.
Jay?
Hey, Jamal.
Hey, what's up? Rise and grind. Thank you for taking my call. My question for Isiah Thomas King is really just, what is your thoughts on the NBA today and the grittiness and the toughness as we thinking about the 70s and 80s and 90s, how tough all the NBA players were, the elbows and everything. And, now it seems like you thump a player and he go flying across the sideline. I just want to get your thoughts on, the flopping and the grittiness of the NBA today versus back in the day.
Yeah, I would say that not only sport, but also parenting, coaching, teaching, all of those things are different today. And sport mirrors society in a lot of ways. So the teaching and the parenting that you got at home is totally different, in the 80s than it is, 2023.
Yeah.
I didn't come up on the Dr. Spock method, and I was never put on timeout. And
Dr. Spock, man.
and coaching, today, player wise, it's just a different time, and it's not like it used to be. There's some good things about it, and then there's some nostalgic things that we wish would return, like defense. I think right now they make it too easy for the offense to score.
Okay.
How about some resistance, right? If we get a little resistance, then we'll see how good an offensive player you really are.
We talk about that because basketball scores be like 180,
Right.
160.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
All right.
That's funny.
Yeah, Heaven said we're going to see our first 200-point game
He
soon.
start shooting.
Hey, I sit here and I still hold the record. We, the Detroit Pistons,
What was it?
the highest scoring game in the NBA. We scored 186 points.
Oh,
Damn!
Wow.
Yeah, we was that good.
Wow. Nobody took that down. What year was that?
186.
Damn.
Was that 84, 85?
That was rude,
Yo,
man.
it's going to be a 200-point game.
It's going to be a
Watch.
200-point game.
Heck yeah, 180.
Pistons versus Nuggets, December 13th, 1983.
Oh my God.
183.
What was the Nugget score?
184.
184.
Oh,
What
shit.
was going on with
What
you?
was happening
It
that
was
day?
overtime.
Hey, we was. How about this? it was in the altitude. So when I hear them talk about, oh, the altitude affects all these players, I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, we dropped 186 in the altitude, so it didn't affect us that much. What was going on that night? Everybody was hot. Didn't nobody miss.
Man, Isiah Thomas is here, man. Give him a round of applause. Isiah Lord Thomas III. I feel like you got to keep coming back, man, periodically, man. Would you be into that? Every time you in town, just come see us, man.
Anytime you ask, I'm not one of them guys that I'm like this. You from Oakland, I'm from Chicago, right? I give you my phone number. I answer the phone. Mm-hmm. I do respond back. You invite me, I show up, right? And if I can't come, I just tell you, no, I'm not coming. And if I can come, I'll be there. Only thing I ask is that, what am I going to say?
Be on time.
I saw Heather. I didn't see you, though. Heather was out there.
Don't do that, man.
Say it for him.
Come on, man.
Make my time, homie. You
Come
from
on,
the
man.
town.
All right, last thing. Y'all
like
want to
that we vibing like that.
Whatever. All right, so 89 and 90 are the years you won a championship
back to back.
Back to back. What championship team in your imagination you think would have gave y'all the biggest run for your money?
In this era?
Any era.
Oh, well, them Boston Celtics and them LA Lakers.
Okay.
They were good. I mean, when you talk about the Celtics and the Lakers during that period of time.
Yeah.
In any measurement, any criteria measurement, the Lakers and the Celtics, those two teams are arguably the top 3 teams to ever play the game of basketball.
Okay.
We beat them.
Swish.
Okay. And then
The mic drop, Sway.
Those are the facts.
Okay. Okay. Hypothetically, in this era, who would give you?
Hypothetically, in this era, that LeBron James team that came back 3-1 against Golden State.
Yeah,
sorry to bring that up.
I don't feel like you're that sorry.
No, but I mean, when you look at that team,
Yeah.
with Kevin Love, Kyrie, LeBron, Tristan was on top of his game. I mean, they were playing. Though that series, that may be one of the greatest championship comebacks that I've ever seen. Golden State 73-9 that year.
Yeah.
73-9, and up 3-1 in the NBA Finals, and LeBron and that team come back and win 3 straight and win the last one in Golden State. Kyrie on the right side of the floor, shake, step back, boom. Oh, man, that was cold. That was cold. I
told you to let him stop
should've
before.
let him
I
stop.
said
He
it was
stopped
a
on a
mic
good-
drag,
it was
and
a
then
good
you
moment,
kept
too.
going. He had to push you, and now this is what you get.
But Golden State and Steph, Steph done changed the game.
Yeah.
Steph has totally changed. We see kids now who never could shoot, wouldn't even attempt to shoot the ball from half court or the hash mark. What Steph Curry has done to the game of basketball is he's expanded the imagination of everybody who steps out on the floor. We have little kids now who are in 8th grade who, shooting threes with great form, Steph Curry form, right? And, the way he's impacted the game, it will be, everlasting.
Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
That's real talk.
That's the mic
That's real
drop right
talk.
there.
All right.
And shout out to Damian Lillard, too.
Dame Dollar.
Dame Dollar, man. Listen, MitchellandNess.com. I need everybody tuning. You got a lot of people on the phone lines. Cherie in Connecticut, Daryl in Charlotte, Mark in D.C., Kenny in Dallas, Jay Murray in Indianapolis. You guys can hit up Isiah directly on his social media, right? What's your social, man?
Isiah Thomas.
There it is. Hit him.
Easy.
Sway.
ISIAH.
All right, Thomas. All right, hit him up and you can ask him those questions, man. I want to say it's an honor to have you on the show today.
Yeah.
brother.
Thank you.
Real honor, man.
Yeah.
This is why I continue to. This is personally why I continue to do what I do here with Heather and Tracy and the whole team, Kalani, Torch, and DB. Moments like this,
Yeah,
man.
real special.
Moments like this. So I want to say thank you for the inspiration and the motivation, and I love that you still talk that shit.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Come on, man.
Absolutely.
I love you, man. Love your son too. He been on our airwaves, and your
DJ.
daughter, and we'll continue to do that. When you coming back?
I'll be back soon, man. Rock it out.
Okay, good. It's a good answer. All right, cool, man. We'll be back tomorrow, citizens. Thank you for tuning in to